I get those goosebumps every time.
I just have to get the big fella off the bench.
Could this be their last chance now? In it comes, Monster to the post! He scored! Harry Monster scored!
I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too numb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need that line to throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, find a rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype.
Yeah!
Come on, get in there.
Chris is frozen.
He's frozen.
Get away, Chris.
He's gone. Oh, come on, though. Get in there. Massive.
Oh, nice one, nice one. 4-0 against Crystal Palace at home. Back. Football is back. We're back. Chris isn't back, but he'll be back shortly, I'm sure. But Pete, how are you?
I'm great. Absolutely great. This has been a great day. Great day. Winning emphatically. Great win. Lots of goal scorers. Lots of little videos and memes all over the place in Newcastle fans. And then in the last hour or two, just causing a huge fume with a bunch of Liverpool fans on social media. It's great. Great day.
Is that question real? Is that question real? Like, did someone actually ask Klopp that? It looks fake.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's real. But like, I'm still getting messages from Liverpool fans saying it's not real. It's not real. Yes, I knew like an hour and a half ago, but it's still funny and it's still relevant. And exactly. I love how they're going out of their way to put messages on to fight something that's apparently fake. If it's, why would you care? But the fume is unreal. But every other fan of the Premier League club is loving it right now. You've got Tottenham fans that have put the same video out. You've got Man United fans. You've got Chelsea fans. They're all over it. But look, hey, we had a massive win today, and that's all that matters.
It is all that matters, Pete. After a turbulent week, yeah, great to have another win under our belts after the 2-2 draw with West Ham last time out. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm sure Chris will join us along the way, and we will pause whatever we're doing and say hello to Chris along the way. But first of all, mark respect, with the sad news with the passing of Sir Bobby Charlton. Yeah. As I was saying to Pete, I've never seen him with so much hair, but this is him in his younger days. But yeah, a massive key figure in for England and obviously for Man United as well. But so sad news with the passing of Sir Bobby Charlton. But on a brighter note, Chris is back in the chat.
Hey! Get in.
Back on screen. Nice one.
Get
in. Yeah, you just cut off at the wrong time, Chris. But great to have you back.
I know.
Great to be back, mate. Yeah, I had 5 minutes on now to your 60 minutes. Thank goodness. Right. Let's get. How are you, Chris? First of all,
I'm very good, mate. Very good. Do you know what? I'm like watching Newcastle these days is just a delight, isn't it? Absolute delight. I've got all my red and blue mates, chomping at me, going, and I watched the derby earlier today. Such a poor game. Such a poor game. And then 3 o'clock comes and we watch Newcastle and we're just wiping the floor with Crystal Palace. Oh, mate, it's just brilliant. And all I'm getting all through it, it's like, he scored again, have you? And it's just like they know that we're there now. They just know, and that's what I love. That's what I love.
And you missed it because I've just said I know that they know we're there because I've just been getting shit for the last 2 hours on social media, causing a fume. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. They know that we're coming. We're not there yet. We're not on their level yet in terms of what they've produced over the last 5-6 years.
No,
but we're coming, and they know it, and they know that when we're there, we're going to be hard to shift massively.
Incredibly, yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, we all we wanted, lads, wasn't it, was just to be able to compete, and now we're doing better than that. You know, we're playing against the likes of Palace, and we're putting in performances like we did today, with all the furore around Tonali and a few injuries still. You know, obviously Botman was out and stuff like that, and then we go and put a performance in like that, and against a very, very, defensively sound Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we'll get into it, Daz, but yeah, brilliant performance.
Brilliant performance is right, but let's get straight into it, and we'll fly through the game. So this was our team, as Chris alluded to there. Tonali was on the bench. Gordon back in after suspension, no Botman. Isaac was on the bench. Wilson started, and Miggy's on the bench, and Murphy, Mr. Juicy himself, started. And yeah, you could see from the start of the game, and we'll even talk about it at the end of the game, Tonali got a great reception from the fans, and rightly so. This in turn was the Palace side that took the field. I know you guys covered it on away days with D and with Keith, that yeah, they were going to be missing some attackers, but yeah, as Chris said, they were defensively sound. Well, maybe not so much today, but yeah, what did you make of our team, lads? Pete, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, for me, I just think the Murphy decision, not that I was against it, and I'm sure nobody else is right now, but it was a surprise, because everyone, I think, assumed that Miguel Almiron, because he's such a durable player, he plays 90 minutes week in, week out, and he just seems the same. Everyone thought he would just play. So that was probably the biggest shock of the lot. I did think Botman might be back. Sadly, it looks like he's going to be out for another couple of weeks. But as we said on away days, like it's not the worst thing in the world. Nobody was arguing the fact that Lascelles might play again because of his form before the international break. And then the Wilson situation. Chris, you're on away days. You said Wilson up top. Wilson will start. And it was sort of me and Keith that maybe were umming and ahhing on that because we weren't quite sure. But yeah, the Murphy one was the big surprise. Other than that, I think it wasn't a huge surprise that some of those players started.
Any thoughts? Anything different, Chris, from you on the starting lineup for Newcastle?
Oh, I think you're on mute, mate. 1 second.
God almighty, sorry, yeah, I am. I haven't done that for a while, have I? I haven't done that for a while. No, I mean, no, I completely agree with what Pete said. I mean, the biggest, I was saying the biggest shock, but it wasn't really a shock. But the most surprising thing, I think, was that Murphy started ahead of Miggy. But obviously, with Botman out, it's a shame. But Jamal Lascelles has been doing a great job. Him and Shaw at the back, forming a formidable partnership. And the midfield was exactly as I thought it would be. And it was great to have Anthony Gordon back. But again, I won't say anything because I'm sure we'll touch on it. But yeah, he really impressed today.
Yeah, he did. Right, let us get into it. And as I said, Tonali got a great reception and the flags beforehand as well, and afterwards, and the walk around going over to the Gallagher and the reception he got. I saw something else on Twitter as well. Palace brought their own flag. If you can see that there, the mask is slipped. Yeah, that one. A little Scooby-Doo reference. But yeah, interesting flag from Crystal Palace.
I just wanted to add to that because that for a lot of Newcastle fans will be the first time they've seen it, but that's not the first time they've put it out. I believe the game, because I was there, me and Chris A, funny enough, Chris A. God bless him. Right, yeah. We were there. I met him outside of the Palace ground, Selhurst Park, and then in the away end, we could see it from their main stand behind the goal. They had a number of flags. There was a bigger flag that they didn't use today. They had that one where the mask is slipped. So it's one that they've not. It's not new to some fans because we've seen it before. But the fact that they brought it out, one, they couldn't even put it up properly because you couldn't see half of it, and two, what they're put up in my opinion is just no longer relevant. It's not the actual what they're trying to say. It's like it's no longer relevant now in terms of what they're trying to portray across and getting the Premier League to act on what. Act on what? The Premier League got nothing to act on. So it's just a case of just trying to make their away fans relevant. And actually, what it did probably do is cover up a few empty seats more than anything else.
All right, let's get into the game.
Sorry, Dean.
Right, first 5 minutes, we didn't have long to wait for the first goal. Murphinho steps up. Well, it's so much step up as it was clipped back in by Trips. A brilliant ball in by Trips. Just kind of dinked it in for him, and he looked like he was trying to lob it back in for someone else to get on it, but he lobbed the keeper and back of the net. Cue the celebrations from Murphy as always. They're class and. Great for him to be back playing with us, getting a start, I should say, and to cap it with a goal after 5 minutes. What did you make of that goal, Chris? I go to you first.
I don't know how much he meant, but it was a great finish, and it was funny actually because when I first saw it, I didn't understand why they were VAR in it. I was like, nah, he's onside.
Yeah.
And then when I watched it back, I was a bit worried, but I was looking at the wrong defender. I was looking at the defender Nevis Murphy, and I was like, oh, it's tight. And then when they drew the lines, I think it was Mark Gay who was keeping him well onside. So my initial thought was correct, but yeah, great start, and it was a really good finish. And I was pleased for Murphy because he got to do 2 celebrations, didn't he? And he celebrated as much the second time around as he did the first time around. But yeah, it's always, do you know what? It's always, you always get like that warm, nice feeling, don't you, when Jacob Murphy scores, because you can see how much it means to him. And I was made up for him today. Really smart finish. And do you know what? I'm going to say he meant it. I think he saw the keeper off his line and thought he'd have a go.
Nice one. Before we go to Pete, just a reminder, I see people putting it in the chat. Thank you very much for doing that, the mods and everyone else. But smash that like button, and if you're new and you're watching it, if you want to, look, here,
He's done it again.
He's done it again.
Oh, Pete doing his magic thing.
He's milk tray man. What's going on there? Oh, he's back. I don't know how you do that.
It was the thumbs up. I wonder if it does it again. If I do the thumbs up,
maybe it's a quick movement you do, and it just kind of
just one time.
It's pretty cool.
One time.
Right, yeah. So smash that like button. And I was going to say, yes, if you want to get the chat to be enabled, hit subscribe, and you'll be able to chat away as well. Pete, your thoughts on Murphy's goal?
Yeah, you know what? It's just a really, really well worked goal. I always get a little bit worried when Shaw plays over the left because you think those diagonal balls don't come as often. But he's shown in the last few games that it doesn't really matter whether he plays on the left or right. He's still going to be able to ping a ball over. And actually, I think it works perfectly because he's pinging those balls over to Trippier, and Trippier will thrive off those balls all day. Yeah. And he did. Created the moment for Murphy. There'll always be a question mark of whether he meant it or not. I think that there was a comment in there from Brett C saying, "Love that Murphy admitted that he didn't mean it." It doesn't matter. He ended up in the net. I don't think anybody cares. I don't think he cares either. And maybe it's goals like that throw teams off because they expect one thing and something else happens. Nobody's complaining. A great early goal, and this is what we talked about before. Is it? Getting an early goal against Palace was going to be important. I think you said it, Daz, in the chat, in our loaded chat. They're going to have to come out now and play, and I think you're absolutely right. So it changed the whole landscape of what both teams tactically had probably set up to do. But great finish, just what we needed in a game that previously hasn't had many goals. It was great to get one nice and early.
Yeah, it sure was. Right, let's get into a bit more because there's half chances on either end. not so much for Crystal Palace. We'll give them that. We'll say half chance. But 26 minutes, Wilson, Gordon, there was a kind of chance after a Longstaff cutback. Nothing came of that. Then 29 minutes, Murphy burst into the box, cut back to Gordon, and Gordon with a volley off the post. Unlucky. He should probably bury that one. But they get that one in to go in. Then 33 minutes, Wilson had a header that went over from a trips cross. Then 43 minutes, the Flash strikes with a goal. Murphy put the ball in. Trips did a dummy run to fool everyone, and put a great ball in for Gordon, and Gordon pretty much tapped it in to the net. But a great goal from Gordon. Cue the celebrations from Gordon as well. And it was a chance for the Irish Mags as well, who took off really early on this morning, and their new flag there. Anthony Gordon running down the wing.
Got it.
Yeah, you know it. You know that one. So so they got that out in action today. So Flash got his goal. Pete, your thoughts on Flash's goal?
Brilliant. Lovely football. The way we passed it around Palace. We made it look easy, but it's not to play the type of football we did to create the openings. I think everyone thought that Murphy was going to do the simple thing, which was to lay it off to Trippier. Trippier opened it up, but it opened up the space for the ball. And the ball is outstanding. It's such a great ball, like such an underrated ball, as well. Put into an area that's so hard to defend. And then on the back of that, you got two players, because Wilson wasn't too far off from it either. You got Wilson and you got Gordon that are running in on the end of it. And it was great to see Gordon get on the end of that and stick that away and continue his fantastic rise. He is playing some outstanding stuff at the moment. He wasn't in the game massively today because a lot of the football was on the right, but he still was active and still was there when the big moments came about. And that's what a good player does. Nice finish. And really kind of set us in a really good spot. I thought once we went 2-0 up just before half time, I genuinely thought that we'd won the game at that point. And that maybe was me talking a little bit early, but Palace don't score a lot of goals. So the fact that we put two past them already gave them a huge mountain to climb at that point. Great football, great finish. Just what we're doing right now. Playing quality stuff.
Nice one. Before I go to Chris to talk about his boy, Anthony Gordon, I believe we have one of these.
Super chat.
Zelda.
It comes from Jason Scott. Cheers, Jason. Thanks for the super chat. Question for the gang: are we becoming fucking massive? Yes, we are, Jason.
Hey, is the Pope Catholic? Some may say, who knows, but he is.
We don't bring religion into the show, Pete. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Move on.
All right.
Move on.
All right. Chris, your thoughts on Saint Anthony Gordon?
Yeah, I thought he looked a real threat, didn't he? And it was great to have him back. I think he provides a real danger on that left hand side, and I was particularly pleased he got his goal because he'd missed a chance, hadn't he, shortly before that when he hit the bar, and I think he'd missed the chance after. Yeah, he missed the chance and then he'd scored a bit later on. But Pete's absolutely spot on in what he says. That ball from Murphy was brilliant ball. And just to touch very slightly on Murphy, there was a couple of times, wasn't there? I think the Wilson goal as well, which we'll probably get to. That ball doesn't come in when Miggy's there. The ball just doesn't come in. And Murphy absolutely outstanding today. But do you know what? In fairness to Gordon as well, it wasn't the easiest of finishes. It looks easy, but the ball got fizzed in, and he still has a bit to do. Yes, he's only a few yards out, and you'd expect him to finish it. But because he's put that much power on it and he's put a bit of curl on it, he's still done well to finish it. But and then we saw the passion, which gets on all the Blues it really annoys all the Blues, you know, when you see Anthony Gordon screaming with such excitement at scoring a goal for Newcastle. But yeah, brilliant finish, and that 2-0, yeah, all that get that second goal really kind of put Palace to the sword, in my opinion. And yeah, great that Anthony Gordon's on the score sheet yet again.
Well, if they weren't already at the sword, 3 minutes later they definitely were, because up steps Sean Longstaff before he goes on his interrailing tour with his brother Matty. He steps up and gets a go. Can you believe that some people are falling for that Big Frank story? Anyway, it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, Longstaff, he dispossesses the defender after a bit of harassment from Wilson actually on the defender. It's one of the defenders for Gay.
Gay.
Marcus? Yeah, that's the one. And yeah, but a good, nice finish, composed finish for Longstaff. Again, cue the celebrations for Shawnee Longstaff. Pete, your thoughts? No, Chris. Go to Chris, because it's your turn this time. Let's go for you. Your thoughts on Shawnee Longstaff's goal?
Yeah, it was fortunate, wasn't it? Because Longstaff, you know, I think it was the commentator that said it, actually. He was really pushing forward today, Sean Longstaff, and he was getting into those attacking positions, and he took advantage. You know, I think he nicked possession, and it was a smart finish to I think it was the keeper's right, and you know, he still had a lot to do, but a bit of composure. And as you say, Daz, you know, it quickly followed, didn't it, the second goal? And yeah, that set us up really nicely, didn't it? But yeah, Sean Longstaff today, up and down the pitch, particularly got into a lot of dangerous forward positions, and fully deserved his goal because, like I say, you know, he put in a lung busting performance today. So yeah, delighted for Sean Longstaff.
That took us to halftime, Pete. And what your thoughts on Sean Longstaff's goal?
Yeah, great goal. It's really interesting because he's actually replied to that in his tweet after the game, which is about the traveling business, which is hilarious. Yeah, but yeah, it was well deserved of a player that's playing some fantastic football for the club right now. His pressing, his harrying, all half meant that none of those defenders had time on the ball. And this is the thing: there might be good defenders, but you've got to be good under pressure. And some of these guys haven't experienced, and I think we said it to D on away days, is that some of these guys haven't experienced the type of pressure that this team exerts on you over a course of a game. And he panicked. He panicked and he slipped and he allowed Longstaff in. And Longstaff would have snatched at that previously, maybe even last season. But he took the extra little touch to create the space, bang, into the far corner. Lovely goal. And yeah, hopefully Gareth Southgate's been watching that. Because if he's not, he needs to be.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Pete, because there was a lot of pointing up the stand, and I think they were pointing towards Southgate. Come on, look at us here. Where is he in the stand? So yeah, from the big down burn, Sean Longstaff, and Lascelles as well. You never know. Lascelles might still have a chance. You never know. Maybe Anthony Gordon might be a better option.
And Wilson went in the last one.
But that took us to halftime. Yeah, so then into the second half, some sloppy passing really to start off that second half. But we're 3-0 up as well. I think we were all just waiting for Eddie to make a few changes. 57 minutes, a counter attack, Longstaff onto Murphy, ball across, but it was cut out by the defender for a corner. 65 minutes as the bench was warming up. 4 players were warming up to come on. Wilson got word that Isaac was coming on, but he wasn't having any of that. Steps up and gets his goal. But it was an absolutely brilliant counter attack. A good save by Pope. trips, ball on, good ball to Murphy. Murphy, exquisite pass to Wilson, and Wilson one touch, and then took put the ball away, touched it steady and finished then. But a great counter-attacking move by Newcastle, and Wilson got his goal, which he didn't mind telling Isaac when he was coming off as well. Just a little reminder that. I'm out to catch you. But I think it's over to you, Pete, for Wilson's goal.
Just another great footballing goal. Ball gets rolled out by Pope. Trippier plays in Murphy. The ball from Murphy. It's sending the vibes, not on the same level, but it's sending the vibes of the Willock outside of the foot.
Yeah.
Against Tottenham, like it's not at that level, but it's not far away. Like that sort of pass is like it's a striker's dream. Like Wilson getting hold of that and being able to take a touch and apply the finish, he must be lapping it up. He must be thinking it's his birthday, getting opportunities like that. You know what I mean? Like it was that good. And look, Murphy clearly said to Trippier, you might be getting all the plaudits for the assist, but I'm coming for you. And he's already on 2 for this season, I believe. Trippier now on 6, not far away. And look, who would have expected Jacob Murphy to still be providing crucial moments for Newcastle United in 2023? End of October 2023. Nobody would have expected that. And you know what? Just mad respect for him, because he's playing some great stuff whenever he gets the opportunity. And he did again. It was a superb goal. And again, I reiterate, it was defending a corner from ourselves. We defended and then hit them on the counter, and they just could not cope. And this is a team, sorry, Chris, just to say this is a team that we wax lyrical about on away days for being the second best defensive team in the Premier League, or joint second with Chelsea. And we've managed to do this, and in the way that we did, particularly for that goal, just shows how good we are as a team.
Cool. And hang on, what was the score at this stage? Was it? That's right. It was 4. Your thoughts on Wilson's goal?
Yeah. Well, I think Pete summed it up really well. I think it was nice to see Pope reacting very quickly out to Trippier. Do you know the one thing I will say, and I don't want to take anything away from that ball from Murphy, but Palace had just collapsed at that point, hadn't they? Because all Trippier had to do was just put it down the line. Murphy has a little look up, plays it across, and as Pete says, Wilson takes a touch and he's like, "Anyone near me? No, great, okay, I'll just tuck it away now." And that's not taking anything away from the lads, but I think at that point, Palace had really down tools. But as Pete said, on away days, we've been very impressed this season with how well Palace have been defensively, and we've literally tore them a new one today. We were absolutely outstanding.
Cool. Then it was time for some subs. So Tonali, Livramento, Miggy, Isaac, all warming up and all came on. Off came Trips, Bruno, Gordon, and Wilson. Yeah, big game on Wednesday with Dortmund in town. So great to be able to take some players off and give them a bit of a break. But the match wasn't over then. 74 minutes, Miggy had a chance. He was kind of one-on-one with the keeper a bit. He was straight at the keeper, really. He did get a bit of a tug back at that stage, but yeah, it wasn't. We're 4-0 up. We're not going to go too mad into that. 79 minutes, J7 came off. Elliot Anderson came on. Actually, I'm going to say it here, but J7 didn't have the greatest again. Okay, he's coming back from injury. He's not at the pace yet, but he'll get back to his best. But yeah, then there was 2 more pieces of action as well. Great save from Pope on the 83rd minute from a free kick, and 90-something minutes. And Pope save from Pope was kind of straight at him. But all in all, great day at the office. 4-0 for Newcastle, and has moved us up into 5th in the table. But happy with that. lads?
100%. Go on, Chris. Go on.
No. Yeah, absolutely happy with it. And Daz, just to touch on what you were saying, then is anyone in the Premier League so far this season brought on 4 subs like that? I mean, I literally felt like pinching myself. When you looked on the byline, and you've got Alexander Isak, you've got Tino Livramento, Miggy Almiron, and Sandro Tonali. And when you're thinking, bloody hell, this is our team, this is our club, and we just make 4 substitutions just like that, and we're taking off 4 players who've had a great game, by the way, as a team, and then bring on those 4 players. Like Roy Hodgson must have been looking at that and thinking, oh my god, how can we compete with this? And it just shows how much we've moved on since Eddie Howe come in and the new owners. To have that quality that we've got on the bench, and that's not even taking into account Elliot Anderson as well. Who's a real prospect. But yeah, absolutely delighted with the performance. And yeah, bring on Dortmund next week.
Bring on Dortmund. You won't have long to wait.
No,
but
no.
Peter, you're obviously delighted as well with the day out.
I am, and the reason I'm delighted is because of what we kind of talked about all throughout the summer in the build up to the new season. And we talked about games like this being potential banana skins. We looked at this game last season. We looked at Bournemouth. We looked at Leeds. We looked at Palace away. We looked at Bournemouth away. All these games where you'd expect us to win, but we don't quite get it over the line. And what I loved about this is the way we dispatched Palace at ease. Like, this is the one thing for me as a Newcastle fan that if we're going to take that next step, if we're going to move to that next level of being a consistent top level team, we as fans need to get used to it, but the players need to get used to dispatching these kind of teams on days like this with relative ease, without making it too difficult, particularly at home. This is what we're going to have to start doing. And the great thing about it is that we dominated. So we had 60+% possession for the majority, if not all, of the game. So we controlled possession. We dominated. We had far more chances of them, far more chances on target. We dominated. And this is what we need to do. And we didn't really exert ourselves. We didn't really get into 3rd, 4th, 5th gear. And that's what I'm really impressed about in this performance. And Chris, you made a great point. Talking about the players coming off the bench. How good is our squad right now with players back, and we've not even got Willock back. We've not even got Botman back. We've not, there's a potential that Barnes, and obviously Tonali's going to be leaving us at some point, whenever that is. So, but we've still got quality players coming in and doing the business, able to give Trippier a rest, able to give Bruno a rest, and stop him from getting a 5th yellow, like all that sort of stuff. It was just great to see a really, really good performance. And it backed up for me what they did at Burnley. We won 2-0 at Burnley. It wasn't as big a scoreline, but we dispatched them quite comfortably. We've done the same again today. And other games like this season, we need to continue to do that. So that was the most impressive thing for me, is the way in which we did it.
You know how I know we're improving as well? Because I was watching the game on Premier Sports. It was shown in Ireland, the 3:00 kickoff. And last year, they had nothing good to say about Newcastle. But this year, they were falling over themselves with things that Damien Delaney and Neil Lennon were in the studio. But yeah, it was all good things, and they've commented as well on the strength and depth as well. So yeah, good to see. But yeah,
can I just add in as well, Daz? Sorry. And I know we spoke about this week, and anyone who hasn't seen the Eddie Howe press conference, I felt so sorry for Eddie Howe doing the press conference on Friday, because I just don't think it was conducted very well. I think Craig Hope said that there was something like over 30 questions asked about Sandro Tonali. But just a couple of things to add on Sandro Tonali today. I thought Eddie Howe managed the situation perfectly. Even when Sandro Tonali was, warming up and then coming on, Jason Tindall had his arm around him. Eddie Howe was speaking to him. You could see he was a little bit nervous. You could see that he didn't quite look himself, I didn't think. But then he came on, got back to doing what he does best, which is playing football. And I tell you what, Sandro Tonali today, he's a lucky lad, in my opinion, because the fans were absolutely brilliant with him. absolutely
they were.
brilliant with him. And anybody who knocks him, or anyone who's got their own opinion on him, he should and most probably will have come off that pitch and just thought, wow, like I've got the backing of the whole city here. Everybody from Newcastle, all the supporters of the club really getting behind him. And some fans would not have done that. Some fans wouldn't have done that. But the fact that we did that, I thought was brilliant. And let's see what happens. But that's if I'm not. It depends what happens next week. But if that's his last appearance for a while, that'll stay long in the memory for him, I think.
Yeah. We'll stay on that topic for a second. I don't want us to go totally down it again, but yeah, I was expecting that we'd hear on Monday then, and he'd miss the Champions League game, but I don't know. It's kind of a bit up in the air. No one really knows yet when we'll hear word. So he could be in the game against Dortmund.
Keith Downey alluded to the fact that it could potentially be next week, as early as next week, that we find out the case. And actually, although there's a chance he could play against Dortmund, I don't think he will, purely for the fact that if he is going to get a ban, I think Newcastle will want the ban to start as soon as possible, so it ends as soon as possible. They're looking at it for it to be actioned as quickly as it possibly can. But Chris is absolutely spot on. First of all, because we talked about the press conference as well, and I agree with everything you said. I thought it was poor. I thought the questions were poor. I thought everything was poor about it. But I thought Eddie Howe handled it superbly, to the point where, because they're asking these questions because they want to try and build a story. They want to get one little snippet where they can build something from, and Eddie Howe doesn't give you anything. He doesn't give you anything, and he's getting better at it. The more difficult scenarios come about, he handles it so well. But as we said all week, and I tweeted out personally, we talked about it as a channel, get behind Sandro Tonali. Regardless of whether we're annoyed, pissed off at the ban, we all are. At the same time, he's still coming back a Newcastle United player. And regardless, we're still going to have to back him as a player because he's still part of our squad. And as Chris said, the way in which we gave him that potential send-off means the world to him. You could tell how emotional he felt off the back of that. There's been videos going around, and the emotion you could see when he was clapping the fans, when he was warming up towards Elise's, when he got pushed by the players to clap to the Gallagher at the end. I've seen videos of that too. And you can tell how much he appreciates that. We want him back fit, firing and hungry to do whatever he can for Newcastle United. And that appreciation there is what he'll remember, as Chris, as you said, Chris, and I agree. I just hope it's not. I just hope the ban's not too long. He'll get banned. That's fine. Yeah, if he misses the rest of the season, fine. Ideally, I don't want it eaten into next season. I can take him being back for pre-season and starting next season, but beyond that, I think that's where it might come a little bit tricky. But fingers crossed. Let's see. Let's wait and see.
Thanks, Pete. I was eagle-eyed on the chat coming up there because I was waiting. Everyone was saying there's a penalty for Sheffield United, but also, did they score? But for the next 45 minutes or so, we're all Sheffield United fans. So come on, Sheffield United.
I've got the game on. I've got the game on here. I'm watching it, and I tell you what, like up until Man United scored, it came up with a stat. It said successful passes in either area. Sheffield United had 35 successful passes. Man United had 7. Like literally, Sheffield United, they missed a sitter. McBurney missed a sitter before he scored the penalty. They've played all right. They've caused Man United problems. So this game is not over. Man United scoring was the anomaly, and they're on the attack again, on the edge of the area. They're all over. They're all over. If they can continue this, they might get something. And great news if they do. Keep it up.
And another more great news was this: these pictures are back. This one, I love these. Look at Murphy there going mental, and Sandro front and center. So absolutely deadly. Where's Eddie? He's usually at the back. Yeah, he's hiding.
Eddie, back on the back right. He is. Yeah.
Next to the big security guy, the legend. Can't remember his name. The guy.
Well, Botman's normally stood next to him, but Botman's like near the centre of the vice, isn't he? Yeah, Botman's normally at the back of him. Great to see. That's Harvey Barnes as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say, I love the fact that the injured players are all there being a part of it, because you tend to find with clubs that if you're injured, they very rarely turn up to matches, or certainly not at the very
Willock
least
as well
in the changing room. But Willock's on the left. In there, you got, like I said, you got Barnes, you got Botman. I think there's one other in there.
Trips looks tiny. See him beside Pope.
He is. Trips is tiny.
Yeah,
I love it.
And he's a legend. Look at what the assist kings are. Well, let's talk about ratings, and I'm going to make it easy on ratings. So I'm giving 10 across the board to everybody on ratings, and we'll just focus on man of the match. And I'm even giving 10 to Joe Linton, because he does not deserve it. But everyone else was absolutely class. So it'd be unfair to not give him 10 as well. But for man of the match, for me, was Juicy himself, Jacob Murphy, 2 assists and 1 goal. Was that his first? I know he started in the Champions League game for it. Was that his first start for the season?
Not sure. First start in the Premier League.
Good question.
That is a good question.
Could well be in the Premier League. In the Premier League,
the chatters might know.
Yeah, can anyone in the chat correct us there?
He started against AC Milan, all right, but
yeah,
in the Premier League, though, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, in the Premier League, yeah.
I think
he may start the cup game as well.
But, David Cook's just said first Premier League start.
Yeah, there you go.
David's on the ball.
Good shout.
Jacob Murphy, my man of the match. Anything different from anyone else, or anyone you want to focus in on?
No, well, firstly, I agree with you. Jacob Murphy was my man of the match. As the game was going on, I was kind of weighing it up between him and Trips, because Trips, again, is just outstanding. Another assist. Everything went through him. Again, him, Murphy, Longstaff were just running the show. They were just dominating. If I was a neutral, I'd have felt sorry for Tyreek Mitchell, because he got rinsed today on that left-hand side. He got rinsed time and time again. I felt sorry for him. He really doesn't like coming up to Newcastle, because he never plays well when he comes up here. But yeah, so I was kind of thinking Trips maybe, but as the game went on, Murphy just got better and better. I will give another shout out to Jamal Lascelles. I thought Jamal Lascelles was, again, very good. Another clean sheet under his belt. And to be fair, I'll throw Fabian Shaw under there.
Yeah.
Fabian Shaw is just, the two together, it works. It's really working. And someone put in the chat earlier, he's been howled. And I think it was in reference to Jamal Lascelles. And this is what Eddie Howe does. Like, this is the best Jamal Lascelles has played for Newcastle United in this last year or so. Like, he didn't play much last season, but certainly in the run of games, this is the best he's played for Newcastle United in his whole time at the club. Like, it's just brilliant. So big up the centre back pairing. Another clean sheet on the board. We're making it hard for teams to score against us. So yeah, they're my shout outs, lads.
Cool. Anyone for you, Chris? Your boy Gordon.
I completely agree with you boys that Murphy was man of the match. Trippier ran him close. I thought Sean Longstaff was brilliant, and yeah, like Fabian Shaw stood out for me a lot as well today, as he has done now for the majority of the season so far. I think Fabian Shaw's been outstanding, but yeah, Anthony Gordon, I think he deserves a shout as well. You know, first game back from his suspension, took his goal well. That's the thing, though. You could name nearly every player, couldn't you, Daz? I know you mentioned that Joe Linton didn't have his best game, and I agree with you.
Coming back though, come from injury. So.
Well, this is it. The commentator said, because I had it on my box. The commentator said, and I thought it was a great point. He said, you know what? He's got 80 minutes under his belt there, and he's only going to improve. And I completely agree with that. Like, you know, if he started midweek against Dortmund, you know, he could be back to his normal self. And maybe it's the fact he's missing his blonde hair as well. I don't know. It was very annoying because normally I just look for Joe Linton and his bright blonde hair or white blonde hair. And then because he had dark hair, I was like, who's that? Who's that? And then I was like, oh, it's Joe Linton. Because he hasn't had dark hair for ages. So that was quite off-putting. But yeah, I thought Bruno was good as well. I thought Bruno was really good. Dan Burn,
Yeah, he was.
Everybody has a really, really good game.
And a few saves too.
Pope with a fantastic
The
save.
free
Someone
kick.
in the chat says it.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
save. Yeah. So credit to Pope as well, and he made a few good saves after that. You know, he stood firm. He were hit at him, but you know you can only save what's in front of you, can't you? So, I thought everybody has a really good game. So yeah, it was lots and lots of positives.
I think we'll go to the questions next, but yeah, it's a tough call for Eddie Howe. A few tough calls on who he's going to pick for Wednesday's game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be picking it now for away days tomorrow night. We'll talk about that towards the end.
Yeah.
Anthony in the chat for a question, wise lads.
Yeah, there's a few. I will save that first one. Yeah, it was this one from Jason Scott. Jamal has been howled. That was the reference to Jamal Lewis. This one from Peter Moore. Great to have you in the chat. Does anyone think Eddie isn't keen on Lewis Hall? For me, he's terrific, but he doesn't seem to get a look in. What do you think, boys? Obviously, Lewis Hall on the bench again, but didn't get on or get any minutes. Do you think Peter's reading too much into it, or has he got a point?
Do you know what? I can see why Peter's said that, because you know Tino Livramento is getting, you know, he seems to be the next option, doesn't he, off the bench? Although in fairness, that's probably to kind of rest Trippier. So that's probably why Livramento is getting more minutes. And in fairness, every time we've seen Livramento, he's looked outstanding. One thing I will say about what Peter said, I don't think he doesn't fancy Lewis Hall, because otherwise he wouldn't have signed him. But I think Lewis Hall is probably struggling. Pete, I think you mentioned this a few weeks back when we were talking about him, that he's probably struggling from the fact that he didn't really have a proper pre-season. And I think as well that the game we did see him in, I'm trying to think which game it was. Was it against City? Maybe was it City in the cup?
In the cup,
he looked a little bit rusty. He didn't look great to me, Lewis Hall. And after you know he came off, I think I said to you boys, like, I can see why he's not been playing him, because he just doesn't look. He doesn't look Eddie Howe fit, should we say? But I've got no doubt in my mind that when Lewis Hall is up to speed and when Lewis Hall is ready, Eddie Howe will definitely utilise him, and I think we'll probably see more of Lewis Hall maybe towards the middle of the season or the back end of the season. Leslie Stapleton there has just said Lewis Hall's time will come. Totally agree. So yeah.
What do you think, Daz?
Yeah, I think that I would have liked to see Lewis Hall come on today, to tell you the truth. If we had a 6 sub, not happy with 5, 6, what a 6 one. Back to 3. But yeah, I do want to see him get game time. I don't think it's a case that he's not keen on like Peter's saying there. I think it just, yeah, he just needs to wants to work with them a bit longer, and I'm hoping that when we do see him, then he'd be all action and go, wow, this is what we have. Delighted we have him now, you know. So that's I'm hoping for that wow factor when we do see him. But yeah, it's strange if we didn't see him today though.
Yeah, definitely. A nice light-hearted one here. Ian McKenna put, imagine if you woke up and it had all been a dream and we were still shit.
Yeah.
It does make you feel like that, though. It does. Like, yeah, I think Ian, it raises a good point there, because, like I say, when we brought them 4 subs on, I was just like, what the hell? Like, when did this happen?
Hang on, is this Ian McKenna or Paul McKenna, the hypnotist?
Is it the bend the spoons? The guy that can bend the spoons?
Yuri Geller.
Yuri Geller, yeah.
Yuri Geller, is it? Yuri Geller.
And then Little Britain, look into my eyes, and I can't even say it.
I always remember Yuri Geller, like, going off topic. I don't know if you guys can remember, he took credit for his breaking our London hoodoo when we beat Arsenal at Highbury to go top of the Premier League. I think around Christmas we won 3-1 there when Bellamy got sent off, and we won and we broke the hoodoo. And then he did this spit on TV where he did something apparently in Highbury to break the hoodoo, and he properly took properly took all the plaudits for it, like he was the reason for it. And everyone's like, fuck off. He's chatting rubbish. But
Didn't Glenn Hoddle get him involved in
he did.
England squad? And I remember you were friends with Michael Jackson as well. That's the little links when you say his name. But
And
anyway,
Glenn Hoddle's gone.
Sorry, Pete. I was going to say he brought in Yori Geller and was it
Mystic
Eileen Jory? Eileen Jory?
oh yes,
The lady,
like that.
the lady who was like, I think she was a hypnotist. And it was just like that was like the back end of Glenn Hoddle's England career, and then everyone was like, "Yeah, Glenn, it's done now, mate. I think you're done." Yeah.
If anyone that's watched the Beckham documentary, which is just
I've been watching that.
Outstanding. I didn't realize how bad it was because I was a lot young at the time, man.
Yeah,
how he threw Beckham under the.
I did. Pete,
Sure
I
did.
said the exact same thing to Lisa last night. I was like, I can't believe he come out and was like, yeah, he's basically lost the game for us. And it's like, whoa.
If a manager did that now, the media would literally lap that up for days, weeks.
Yeah.
The way he threw him under the bus after a bigger game like that. He was a young lad at the time, Bex. No wonder he doesn't get on with him. No wonder he doesn't. And he was his idol.
Yeah, because when he first got called up, he was buzzing, wasn't he?
And then he threw him under the bus like that, and no wonder he doesn't like him now. I agree with it. Managers should not react like that. I thought it was absolute disgrace. But yeah, we're slightly going off topic.
We could go down many tangents with that one as well, I'm sure. But
definitely. Muncher said, "Do you think Trips is playing the best football of his career? Away the lads."
I
Good
do.
question.
I think he is. He's been absolutely class. Like every game, he's bombing down that way. It doesn't matter who's playing on that right wing either. He works with them, and he's just absolutely amazing. I was just when Livermore come on, and Livermore did okay when he came on. I was just thinking, I don't ever want Trips to retire or to get slow. I want him to keep going forever.
He's never been fast anyway. What about you, Chris? Would you agree with that?
My answer was going to be to Munch. It's very hard to argue, because Kieran Trippier, week in, week out. I mean, when was the last time, or have we ever said, "Oh, Trippier had a bit of a shocker today"? Like, I don't think we've actually said that. He is just Captain Fantastic or Vice Captain Fantastic, as he is at the moment.
I think for me, I think this is the most complete Kieran Trippier has been in his career. He's the most well-rounded he is now than he ever has been in his career. He might have been faster a few years ago. He might have been technically free kick related, been better at times, but he's the complete right back right now, 110% in my opinion.
£12 million, Pete.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Flipping out. You know what I mean? It's when you got right backs that have been going for let's put it into perspective really quickly. Man United paid 50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And they could have had in that same summer window, they could have had Kieran Trippier. Yeah. Like, in perspective, that's how crazy that deal is to get him for 12 million.
I'm going to say it heading into the Dortmund game. We haven't had a free kick for a while.
We haven't, have we? We haven't.
Go on. Oh. There's the kiss of death for Dortmund.
Yeah.
Definitely. Next one. This is more of a shout out, really. Give a shout out to Jed. He put this earlier on in the chat. But hi, lads. And he says, sorry, I've not been on much. Been looking after the wife. Been watching late at night, never miss. Magic result today. Bring on the Germans. Trophy, yellow, smiling.
Cheers, Jed.
Yeah, from our perspective, hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully everything's going in the right direction and things are getting better. Look, just reach out if you need to talk about anything, any difficulties. But we're here for you. In the community, in the chat, have been massively supportive in response to that message, Jed. Hope you're well. and hope to continue to see you in the chat. And fingers crossed that your wife is getting better, mate. Great stuff. Right. Question from Leon. Do you think we can lose they struggle against the low block tag now?
I don't think we struggle against the low block. The difficulty for us, I suppose, is we did have a period, didn't we, where it felt, and I think this is fair to say, where we felt that maybe teams had sussed us out a little bit. Maybe that was because obviously we had that really tough run of games. It was very hard start to the season. But for me, I think because we've got such a fantastic coach in Eddie Howe, I always think we find a way. And it's just so refreshing, isn't it, to know that Eddie Howe goes into every game and thinks, how can we win this? He never goes in and thinks, right, how can we avoid defeat? It's always, how can we win? And I think having that attitude against every opposition is why we do so well, and why the players have got so much belief, not just in each other, but in themselves. I don't think I think it would be harsh, Leon, if anyone said that we struggle against the low block, because I don't think we do.
I'm going to agree with what Chris said, but I'm not going to back it up with any kind of block, because if you look at the Premier League table, and down here, we have scored 24 goals. No, Liverpool has scored 20. Brighton have scored 22. That's it. They're the only three on 20 goals this season. So we are flying it with 24 goals. So, yeah, that's my answer to it.
Yeah. We were a lot. We struggled last season with the low block. We haven't this season. And that's it. Question for Chris. When we play Dortmund, will you be pronouncing Germans like Stan Boardman? I don't know who Stan Boardman is. Maybe I should know.
He's Scouser. Because when he seen it, I was thinking, what does he mean, a player or something? But he means like Germans, doesn't he? Germans. So I think that's what Gary's saying. But no, I say Germans, but maybe that's what he's referring to. Yeah, Germans.
Brilliant stuff. Gary thinks that we've got the best bench in the Premier League. Would you agree?
I think that's a shout. I really, really think that's a shout. I'll tell you what, boys. Looking at Liverpool's bench regularly. Obviously, I watch Liverpool Everton games. I'm not even going to bring Everton into it. I watch Liverpool games. I've looked at Man United's bench. I've looked at Arsenal's bench. All the so-called big teams, even Man City's bench. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't swap our bench for your bench. Yeah. I look at our bench. I mean, Daz, have you still got the picture there of our bench today?
Of our bench, yeah. Sure do. Here it is. So on it, we've got Dubravka, Dummett, Tonali, Target, Isaac, Hall, Livramento, Miggy, and Anderson.
It's a lot of talent on that bench. I mean, Dubravka, he's an incredibly good number 2 Premier League goalkeeper. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Most teams would be happy with that. Paul Dummett, okay. I don't think anyone would be, desperately calling out for Paul Dummett, but we know the job that Paul Dummett does for this team. Sandro Tonali speaks for himself. Isaac speaks for himself. Lewis Hall and Livramento, arguably 2 of the most exciting fullbacks in the Premier League in terms of potential. Matty Target, yeah, okay. You may be looking to move Matty Target on in the not too distant future. But solid, does a job. Can fill in and do that job for you. And then Miggy Almiron, who will terrify any left back. When he's coming on and he's full of his energy. And then Elliot Anderson, again, another fantastic prospect. So I'd love to see a better bench. Yeah.
And Willock as well. So yeah. Yeah, we have a decent squad. We'll still like to add a few in January. We'll be talking a bit about that in January and summer and so on and so forth. But
did you see that at the press conference, Daz? When Eddie was asked, "Are you going to bring players in?" He was like, "Yeah, we'll see." But he was very coy, like he didn't want to divulge anything. But to me, it sounded like he was like, "Yeah, don't worry, we're already looking." That
Well,
was
I don't care as long as they're
He's a great age.
age. Don't mind then. Who you
Loves his great age. We need that.
Really quick one. Anywhere from D, radio silent. Not heard from him. Not heard anything whatsoever. Won't hear anything from him until we play them again. That's probably the case. But yeah, thank you for that, David. As always. How can Eddie consider dropping Murphy for the next game? Now, I think you boys have talked about that. About it's going to be a tough team to predict. What are your thoughts? Does he start the next one? Does he start Dortmund at home?
Well, the last time I against PSG, I said Murphy will start. He'll start Murphy, and he started Miggy. So I'm going to say he'll start Murphy this one ahead of me.
Okay.
I think he will start Miggy, and the only reason being not that I'm venomously disagreeing with you, Daz, but I think because it's at St James's, I think he'll go Miggy. But if it was at Dortmund, I think he'd go Murphy.
Won't have long to wait for that.
No, very true,
No.
very true.
Very true.
What do you think, Pete?
I think he'll start Miggy against Dortmund, and he'll probably start Murphy against Man United. And I think he'll start Miggy against Dortmund and Wolves. And I think the week after that is Man United, if I'm right. I think I'm right.
For the rest of the season, you planned it out, Pete.
I'm thinking, yeah, I do. This is just me. I always think ahead about just random stupid stuff. This is kind
the
of
next game. All you should be concerned about is the next game. Have you learned answer from Eddie Howe press conference?
I'm trying to be more like Eddie and just plan ahead, think ahead, because that's what he does so well. I think this will be an easy one, but Alan Thompson, always great in the chat. Seriously, lads, is Trippier become Newcastle's best right back we ever had? I always thought David Craig would always be my best in my lifetime, but Trippier is changing my mind.
Yeah,
we're a lot younger than you, Alan, so it's harder for us to maybe judge. Just a little bit younger than you.
I can't remember my dream team when I did it before a couple of years ago. I think I had Warren Barton in there. But Trips have to get in there now.
I had Steve Watson in man, and I'm afraid Kevin Trippier's in there now.
Yeah, Trippier's there for me. Trippier's there 110%. Yeah, and boys, that's about it from the questions that we had. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's tell people what's happening tomorrow, and this is what's happening tomorrow. So talk us through this, Pete.
We're back. Away Days is back, and yeah, really excited to welcome a couple of new guests onto Away Days. So we've got Anton from the Glasgow fan page of Borussia Dortmund. So it's a Glasgow-based Dortmund fan. And then we have the BVB Orlando fan group. So all the way from the States are coming to join us. So Sarah,
what a mix. It's going to be great.
Yeah, Sarah's going to be coming and joining us from the Orlando group, the BVB Orlando group. So they're both really excited to come on. Because Sarah's got they do a podcast for BVB, which we'll talk about tomorrow night. But Anton from the Glasgow group hasn't really kind of been onto a channel like this and done something like what we do in terms of Away Day. So they're both really excited to come on and talk all things Borussia Dortmund and Newcastle. So it should be a really interesting chat to get their opinions on all things Borussia Dortmund on the back of two massive games, really, because we've got them back to back, haven't we? So yeah, I'm excited to welcome them on, and of course, myself and Chris will be asking them all the tough questions, and we may even get some stats. Let's wait and see.
Ooh, Dr. Doom in the house. Right, so that is that is tomorrow. What time is it on again? It's 7:30?
8 p.m.
8 o'clock. 8
yeah.
p.m. Right. So we were just trying to decide, Chris, we might bring you into the conversation as well, because Peter and myself were trying to decide. We have two options to go with on for the game. We can go with a watch along, which I think we're edging towards doing a watch along on the Wednesday, or we can do a reaction show on the Thursday. We're thinking though, if people are interested in it, we might do a watch along, a Champions League watch along on Wednesday. We've done a League Cup one this season already. That went well, so we might do a Champions League one.
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat if you're interested in that.
Know.
By the way, we can gauge what direction we go in. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Obviously, to be on the time of the match. So we'll set that up. But yeah, that is it. Just a quick shout out to the sponsors as well. I shout out to theradiatorshed.com and Russ and his radiators, and he's a new brochure out as well, and he's also got a black and white version of this. Now it's better than looking than this. It's a black and white version, and he's got a little crest on it as well, I think. So yeah, I must get a new picture of that. So Russ, check that out. If you're looking for Newcastle radiators, Russ is your man, and you can get them installed with the install works as well. Also, shout out to H2O Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro and Botch bathroomware. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, ran by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. And some lovely bathrooms, and I'm sure there's new showroom pictures there as well. So you must check in with Russ, actually. You must check in with Russ during the week and see if we can get some new pictures there. That's for our sponsors. And the last slides before we wrap it up.
Yeah. It was one just comment that that links into what we're planning on doing maybe next week. Guy Ree was saying to Les, did you manage to find a watch along? Well, you no need to look anymore, because watch along is here. You might not have been able to find one for Palace, but you'll find one for Dortmund, that's for sure. So make sure you come along and join us.
Nice one. Nice little link in there, Pete. All right. That is it. There's only one thing left to say, I think. Chris?
How'd you like that?
Good night, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Drink it, like weed and tell me you like that, like that.